Hi everybody, I'm Zilla Blitz and welcome. Today we're going to take a look at Enemy at the Gates. Now this is an expansion to Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, and you need that module to be able to play this. This of course centers on combat in southern Russia in 1942, Germans versus Russians. This module adds counters, maps, and scenarios to the Heroes of Bitter Harvest module. Let's jump in, open it up, take a look at what's inside, and offer some impressions. So this is going to be a relatively straightforward unboxing for Enemy at the Gates, because a lot of the things that we talked about in the unboxing for Heroes of the Bitter Harvest are going to apply here, because again, you need this in order to be able to play this. But all of the systems and modules that we talked about in this unboxing, and I'll put a link at the end of this video, so if you haven't seen this one yet, probably a good idea to see it as well as this one if you're thinking about getting both systems. This one here, this module adds the solo system, which also applies to this. It adds the Leader RPG module that goes into this, as well as the battle generator. So all of the overall rules and mechanics and units and counters and maps that are used in this overlap with this and can be used in this. So that's important to say. And by the way, this looks bigger than this because it's closer to the camera. It's not, the size difference isn't as big as it looks on this camera here. So with that being said, let's jump in now and take a look at Enemy at the Gates. So the question we want to be asking about Enemy at the Gates then is, what does it add to the Heroes of the Bitter Harvest experience if there's such a big overlap between the two systems? Well, the first up is you get a lot more of stuff. So you get a whole nother counter set, you get 4 more maps, bringing the number of maps in the module set to 11. And then you also get 10 more scenarios that are included in this module rules and scenarios book. So we'll talk a little bit about those. There's a couple of minor weapons additions as well that are brought into this module pack by this set, but there's also some rules tweaks. Rules tweaks that are added to snipers, allowing from some different movement mechanics with snipers. Sewers are brought into this one, and then severe rubble. And as you might guess by describing those 3 kind of mechanic tweaks and rules tweaks, this, and by the name also of the module, this is very much about urban combat. If you're bringing in the theme of this, there's a large kind of urban theme to this expansion pack, specifically combat in and around Stalingrad. And we'll take a look at that as we look at the modules that are in here. And so we get this, one of the things you get here is this modules and scenarios book. It is roughly 40 something pages long. And very quickly though, so we have a brief overview of the rules changes. Here's War of the Snipers, the maximum MG machine gun brought in for the Soviets. Sewer movement is added in here for this one. But then very quickly from page 6 on, this is all scenarios. So everything is kind of adding in the details for it. And as it does with Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, there's explanation for 2-player, and then the next pages cover the explanations for the solo setup for the scenario as well. But as we can kind of look through these, we'll see that some are rural. Of the 4 maps that we're going to take a look at, 2 are kind of village nestled in hills, and then 2 are urban Stalingrad type maps. So combined with the other 2 that are in Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, the other 2 urban maps, now you've got 4 maps you can use to create just a massive kind of urban battle scenario pack here. And this one inside of the docks, so we're starting to draw near Stalingrad. Push on through is more of a rural one. Guards counterattack and hold, so another one kind of in Stalingrad. But then into the tractor works. So you're getting the ideas. A lot of these scenarios are built and revolve around the action in and around Stalingrad. Fire in the streets of Stalingrad. And there's one I wanted to show at the end that looks really cool. Coffins of steel and oil. There's one at Pavlov's house here too, which I think comes up next. Yeah, armor at Pavlov's house. So it adds in that too, another cool looking scenario. But then the last one here looks really cool. Keeping the Huns at bay. So this one, you take all 4 urban maps, so you can just get this massive urban battle. Looks really cool. And I imagine this one too, with the battle generator, you could really create your own scenarios pretty easily as always. And that's where it goes. So I mean, most of this work, the vast majority, it's quick introductions to some of the rules modifications and tweaks, and then boom, 10 scenarios to add to the Heroes of Bitter Harvest experience. So we'll put that off to the side. Now we also get a counter set, and like the other ones in Heroes of Bitter Harvest, these counters are eager to play. They like to come out, they're ready to go. All rounded, nice and thick. I think these smaller ones are 5/8 of an inch, so no 1/2 inch counters here. And we can see some of them. I'll show close-ups on these too. We can see some of them here. Severe rubble, kind of getting at the idea. Sewer movement, adding into that experience there. That Maxim machine gun here must be somewhere There it is right there. There's 2 of them right there. Oh, 3 of them. We get 3. Satchel charges, some more armor and things like that too. So yeah, bringing a lot of kind of what we would expect in here, barricades, you know, things that are going to kind of highlight that urban experience. And as we flip these over, we can see, as always, printed on both sides with the shaken state on the back for most of the units there too. And yes, these units are eager to get going and make their way to Stalingrad. Now, we have looked at that. We've looked at the counter sheet, and now let's take a look at our maps. As was the case with Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, we have the smaller 1-inch wide hexes, and then we have what I've now learned are called 4X maps. And these 4X maps are the much larger maps, and there's duplicates again. So for every one of these, there's an exact duplicate for one of the larger ones here. So I'll show one of the smaller ones here. These are nice, of course, if you have a smaller footprint. These are 8.5, roughly 8 by 13, I think, if we measure these out. This one, again, showing a kind of a village environment with some hills. So that's that. But I want to take a look and show the larger maps here, because 1, we have some time, and 2, they're really cool looking, and 3, it'll give an idea about what this kind of pack really brings to play. So let's take a look at the rural ones first here. So this is map 92, and these fit nicely on the screen. These are 11 by 17, so you can kind of do the math if you got 2 together and 4 together and things like that. So here we have village, and then again a hill right beside it. We've got some wheat fields. Really nice. I love the artwork in these. They really feel like, you feel like it's what I imagine in my head Southern Russia would have looked like in World War II. So just really a lot of buildings, even in these, you know, kind of rural ones, if you would, we can see that there's kind of this leaning emphasis on building to building combat. You know, this is a village type of kind of environment. So again, that theme of building to building, hand to hand, close combat kind of thing like that. So that's map 92. Let's take a look at 93, which is similar to that one in many ways. For this one here, we have the village, the buildings off to the right side here, and then 2 larger hills here. So we get the road going through it. So lots of neat things we can do with this one. And then, so now we get into the last 2, which highlight the urban theme of this expansion pack. Map number 90, again, tractor works, factory works, a factory in Stalingrad. And you know, you can imagine all 4 of these urban ones put together. And we can see these circles here. I'm assuming these are the sewer movement, the sewer access points. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them in here. Smaller buildings on the outside and these big tractor works, Pavlov's house and things like that and going on here too. And then the last one is very similar in theme. If we look at map 91, we can see the same thing here. Sewer access points, larger buildings, urban environment, sight lines through buildings and things like that with some trees and stuff along on the outside as well. So there you have it. Enemy at the Gates, the expansion pack for Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, adds 4 maps, a counter sheet, 10 scenarios with an urban combat theme, as well as some rules tweaks as well. I will put a link to the unboxing for Heroes of the Bitter Harvest here, and I'm also going to try to bring some gameplay of both of those systems together as the channel moves forward. That'll be a little while going forward, but I'll put a link there too as soon as they are ready. Happy to entertain questions. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and have a great day.